Right, we're not gonna waffle, we're gonna be succinct because I don't have time to edit. So we're gonna keep this short and sweet. I need water though. Hang on. Hello everyone and welcome back to my YouTube channel. Long time no see. There's been a lot going on. Today I want to talk about why actors can speak up about stuff if they want to. I've made a video previously on a similar topic about actors speaking up about issues and causes that are important to them from a slightly different perspective. I will link it if you want to watch it after this one, but the too long didn't watch is basically, if you feel called to speak on something, then you're within your rights to speak on it, but there will be consequences even if you're on the right side of history, because that's how the world works, so just be prepared for that. A lot of people didn't seem to get that that was the point of that video. I don't know if I could have been clearer or it was just people just willfully misunderstanding or not watching the video, but like that was my point. You can speak if you want to speak. There will be consequences, so consider those before you choose to speak, but if you want to, go off queen or king or royalty, I guess if you're non-binary. In this video, however, I want to tackle the topic of why it is ignorant, dehumanizing, just plain like unrealistic when people say that actors shouldn't talk about politics, shouldn't talk about current affairs, shouldn't talk about world events. I really started thinking about this topic again. It's a topic that I think about a lot, to be honest, especially with the state of the world. It's a topic I think about a lot, but it really came to my attention this morning because of an open letter that I saw online that a colleague of mine posted. And it was an open letter in solidarity with Francesca Rivers. If you don't know who she is the actress that has been cast as Juliet in an upcoming production of Romeo and Juliet starring Tom Holland. And she has been suffering just such awful, misogynistic, racist vitriol from people who don't think that Juliet should be a black woman. Spoiler alert, Francesca is a black woman. So this whole morning, I've basically just been thinking about, this is the reason. I mean, there are many reasons why actors are perfectly entitled to speak up about politics, cultural discourse, societal discourse, but even like putting aside the fact that actors are humans that live in a society, that live in a country, that live on the planet, and you know, we are affected by whether we have access to good healthcare, whether our families have access to good healthcare, whether the trains run on time, whether the roads are well maintained, whether our taxes go to fund genocide, or they go to fund military expansion, or they go to line political donors' pockets. You know, aside from all that, you know, we may have children who go to school, and so the school system and the education system is something that affects us. Even getting rid of all of that, just forgetting the fact that we live in society, politics, you know, political discourse, social discourse, cultural discourse affects us and the work that we do. I can empathize with some of what Francesca is experiencing. I've been in a situation where I've been on stage and the character that I've been portraying, who has not exactly the same because I'm playing a character, but like similar lived experiences to me, has been audibly kind of dismissed, ridiculed on stage, while I've been on stage as the sole representative of that lived experience. And I know how unsafe, well, I did feel unsafe. I felt unsafe. I felt vulnerable. I felt like I had absolutely no support, either in that moment or just in general, which is a whole other thing. And that's just like me, like someone seeing me as a character, like not even myself, not me as Michaela, receiving that, someone clearly having a response to the character and how that character was challenging their worldview on things, right? So intellectually, I knew it wasn't about me, but it still felt awful. I cannot begin to imagine what it must feel like when all you've done is accepted a job, like That is all she's done, is just, she's auditioned, she's been offered a part, and she's been like, great, get to work with Tom Holland, love it. You know, get to do some good work, do some Shakespeare. And just the amount of misogynoir that she is receiving just for receiving a job. Being given a job offer and saying, yes, I would like to do that, please, thank you very much. And that hatred and vitriol being aimed at her as a person before she's even started rehearsals, before she set foot on stage. I can't begin to imagine what she must be going through and having to suffer. And I think there are a lot of factors that are mixed into this particular issue. I think, and this is not me blaming Tom Holland, but the fact that Tom Holland as a celebrity is cast, I think that's one of the main reasons why people know that she's been cast, which, you know, there's probably a whole video somewhere in like the downside of celebrity casting, and I think this is one of them. Celebrity casting brings a lot of publicity, but it can also bring in like a lot of nasty people because they know Tom Holland and then they're like, oh my god, a black Juliet? Terrible. I've played Juliet with a white Romeo. Like, it's just that white Romeo wasn't celebrity, so no one cared. You know, this isn't a new thing. Colourblind casting, especially in Shakespeare, is not a new thing. But because a celebrity is involved, people who don't know theatre probably are aware of it, and some of those people might feel like for some reason that's bad, when it's like, no, this is just what we do over here. We do colourblind casting with Shakespeare. Hello, nice to meet you. You know, hi, me from the future. I have a point that I forgot to mention when I was originally filming this video, and that's that the nature of a lot of the hate that Francesca Amawuda Rivers is getting is about her looks. How she's not pretty enough or beautiful enough to be playing Juliet, and how Romeo would never kill himself for someone who looks like her. There's a lot that I want to and could say about that, but I think the point that is most important in terms of this video is that those comments are stemming from a beauty standard that is rooted in white European standards of beauty. And that beauty standard doesn't just harm, well, it's not just harming Francesca, it doesn't just harm black women or black actors when it comes to theatre, it harms all of us in the theatre community. In terms of diversity of casting, it's the reason that you tend to not see a lot of plus size people on stage at all, and definitely usually not in leading roles. Why you won't see a lot of trans or non-binary actors in lead roles, people with different body types in lead roles, even disabled actors, like physically disabled actors, unless it's a fully disabled cast. Like, you rarely see physically disabled actors in leading roles, in romantic roles, romantic leads, the ingenue. That's a problem. I'm going to stop myself before I go on a whole rant about beauty standards. It could be its own separate video, but yeah, that's where that's rooted from, and it's really disappointing, not so much in the theatre community, but just general people commenting on this. It's really disappointing to see other black people also buying into this narrative, this beauty standard, when it harms us, right? If anyone is thinking, yeah, but Juliet has to be beautiful and Francesca isn't beautiful, that's misogynoir. And you need to think about why you have that idea of beauty in your head and why it is so restrictive and reductive. That's it, back to the video. I don't know the ins and outs of how these people have been incited. I don't know if anyone has been incited, or if it's, you know, the media inciting rage culture, or if it's just some bad racist apples have just like found out and have just jumped on this bandwagon. I don't know, but like, if there wasn't a celebrity casting, if this production wasn't so high profile, like, she wouldn't be suffering this. So that's like a whole other thing. But my point in this video, because we're not gonna waffle, is what is the cause of this? Like, the ultimate root cause. Why do people feel emboldened to say what they're saying to Francesca? or about Francesca. Why are people so emboldened in their misogynoir? It's the years and years, probably decades at this point, but time is an illusion, of like the hostile environment, Windrush, anti-immigration rhetoric, Brexit, like all of that stuff has enabled and emboldened people to be openly racist and openly misogynistic towards this actress who's just wanting to do a job. That is a political issue. That is a cultural issue. That is a societal issue. That is clearly affecting Francesca. It's also affecting the rest of the cast, because obviously not in the same way, but like they're in this production, so they're seeing this happen. They're seeing this happen to one of their co-stars. This is something that is affecting many women of color in the industry, seeing this happen to this woman and being like, well, like I was thinking this morning of like, would I even want to, I mean, how would I cope with that heat? Would I even want to potentially take a job where I might get that heat? Because who wants that? We just want to do our jobs and live our lives. We don't want to deal with racists who haven't even seen us perform, you know? Do I want to have the anxiety of like, will those people be in the audience when I go on stage? I'm sure Francesca must be thinking that. It's affecting us as performers who aren't even involved in the production. And if we can't, as human beings, speak up about issues that affect us, that affect our lives, that affect our work, because this is going to affect her work and it's going to affect the production, then who else is going to speak up for us, right? So we're allowed to speak on things that are going to affect us, affect our lives, and affect our work. Sorry, I'm getting a bit heated because it's awful. Like, it's awful. You haven't even done anything. You've literally just been offered a job and the casting has been announced and you're having to deal with all of this shit. It's awful. Another thing I've been thinking about this morning is why people feel able to say, oh, actors shouldn't talk about politics. They shouldn't talk about world events, current events. You know, stay in your lane. You're just here to, you know, you're just an actor. You shouldn't be talking about these things or having an opinion about these things. I was thinking about what causes people to think that and what causes people to voice that opinion, because a lot of people do. And I always clap back with like, okay, well, if someone's just a plumber, should they just stick to plumbing and not talk about politics? No one would think twice about a plumber having an opinion about, you know, our political leaders or like the state of the roads. You know, so why is an actor any different? And I was thinking, this is me just like thoughts. So like anyone who's done like, you know, research like sociology on this, then like feel free to school me. But like, this is just my hypotheses and my musings. But I think part of it is the fact that actors are in the business of entertainment, right? We are in films, we're in plays, we're in musicals, and we, as in our talent, our performances, I guess, are consumed by the audience of whoever that is. And that's what many people who make up that audience view us as. They view us as a commodity. And that's not anything new. Like, go back to, you know, the 1700s when Nell Gwyn was having people, like, you could pay to go to Nell Gwyn's dressing room and watch her get changed and stuff, and like, I don't know, sniff her. That's not historically accurate. I don't know if people sniffed Nell Gwyn, but you know what I mean. Like, she wasn't a person, she was a commodity that you could access, right? So this isn't anything new by any means, that kind of blurred line between like human being and commodity for consumption. But I think because of that, when actors do speak out on things and those things make their audience or their fans uncomfortable, they don't want to have to think of you as a person with agency that is affected by things that don't affect you, that aren't on your radar, or even things that are like antithetical to you, like anti-racism, for example. You know, if you're someone who is like, yeah, that's not racism, that's like a few bad apples, or like there's no such thing as systemic racism, and you have a black actor or actress talking about systemic racism, that's antithetical to what you believe. That makes you uncomfortable, and so you go, we shouldn't talk about politics. And the reason that I think it's that and not necessarily, like, Obviously, I can't speak for every person who says actors shouldn't talk about politics. But the reason I think more often than not is that I think about actors who are the spokespeople for charities, for example. I'll put the name of the actress when I find it, because I can't find it right now. But there is like a YouTube like pre-roll advert that I get quite a lot about the ongoing conflict in Ukraine, with an actress who is like the face of that campaign, being like, you know, bombs are still falling on children. I've been there and I've seen the conditions. Please give money, essentially. I doubt that she's getting that much hatred for speaking up about the Russia-Ukraine war. And I think that's partly because on the whole in the UK, as a nation, we're kind of pro-Ukraine. So speaking up for Ukraine, no one's going to tell her to shut up about that, right? And so the people who would say to one actor, you shouldn't talk about politics, if you're not also telling, or let's say world events or current events in, you know, foreign lands. I don't know why I said foreign lands like some kind of arcane thing, but you know what I mean. Like, you shouldn't be talking about wars happening in foreign countries. It's not your concern. If you're not also saying that about the actors who were talking about the Russia-Ukraine war, A, that's hypocritical, but B, and I think the more important point is, it's not that the actors are talking, it's about they're saying something that you don't like. We're people, we have agency, we have views and opinions, and it's up to us to choose whether we want to speak on those things or not, especially if they're things that actively affect us. And if that makes you uncomfortable, then you do what you want with your discomfort. Like, I can't say you have to agree with everything that every actor says. If you watch that previous video on a similar topic, you know, the actors that I discuss in that video, I do not agree with what they say. They chose to say it. They chose to say what they said. Me as a person hearing what they said, and you as a person hearing what actors say and what they speak up in support of or in opposition to, can hear that and make a decision. You can decide, I'm not gonna watch their films anymore, I'm not gonna listen to their music anymore, I'm not gonna engage with them, I'm gonna unfollow. You know, you can make that decision, and that's your decision, the same way as it's their decision whether they talk or not. But to say that they shouldn't, whether an actor should or shouldn't speak up about something, is their decision to make, taking into account how strongly they believe in that decision, how they'll feel about themselves if they don't speak up, how they'll feel if they do speak up, the potential ramifications, and could they live with those worst case scenario ramifications. That's a decision that's for them to make, whether they should or shouldn't speak. And that's entirely personal at the end of the day. People can have opinions about what people should speak up about, use their platforms for, etc. Like, I have an opinion that if he hasn't already, I really hope Tom Holland speaks up about what's been happening to Francesca, and that he uses his privilege as a celebrity and as a white man to say that this isn't okay, and any purported fans of mine who are saying these things aren't fans of mine and you need to check yourself. I hope he says that. I think in an ideal world he would do that, but I can't tell him what to do. And if he doesn't do that, that's his prerogative. And then it would be up to me or anyone else to be like, so you didn't speak up for your co-star, what does that make me think about you? You know? That's how it works. Basically, actions have consequences. Actors are people, people can speak on things. If you don't like what actors are speaking about, then you just make a decision on your support of that actor based on that, but don't tell them they shouldn't be speaking about that just because you value your comfort more than their humanity. And so because you want your comfort to be preserved, but you also want them to carry on like entertaining you, you don't want to lose their entertainment, but you don't want to see them as humans, so they need to shut up so you can just carry on consuming their content. No, that's not how this works. That's all I really wanted to say on this topic. I'm stopping here. before I start waffling. I hope you found this video informative. I guess I won't say if you enjoyed it. I feel like I was just getting out some feelings, which isn't usually what I do on this channel. So if you did enjoy it, please consider liking and subscribing. We'd love to have you on the channel. I say we like there's any other people, it's just me. If you didn't like this video and you're like, well, Michaela, shut up, and you feel like because I've spoken out about this you want to unsubscribe, that's fine. Like, it's a bit of a bummer, but I feel like if you feel that much of a way, maybe it's the best for both of us if you go. But yeah, I will also leave links in the description to several things that are going on in the world at the moment, because even though I don't use this channel to speak on things, if you follow me on Instagram, you'll know that I've been posting lots of stuff on my stories. Not so much on my actual like feed, because life, there's been a lot happening. So but yeah, I will leave links to information about various things that are going on, including the genocide in Gaza at the moment, the ongoing Russia-Ukraine war, Sudan, the Congo, Haiti. There's a lot, guys. It's terrible. The world is terrible. So yeah, I will leave links with information, and any donation links that I'm able to vet, I will also leave below if you are so inclined to make a donation. And if you're still here, videos are coming. Thank you so much for your patience and bearing with me. Also, thank you to all the new subscribers that have been popping up over the last few months. Really appreciate you. Hi, welcome to the club. Glad you found something that you enjoyed here. Still working on my equity debt video. I just need time to finish editing it. Things are a bit sporadic at the moment. I'm moving, family stuff, full-time at the resting job, like there's a lot going on. So thank you so much for your patience. Hopefully I can get this out pretty soon. And yeah, thank you so much for watching, and I will see you all in my next video. Bye, friends.